Hey guys, and welcome back to Upshift. So today we are 2.5 weeks out, very close to the show now, and we're going to take you through a refeed day. Also it's push, so we will be filming a little bit of a session today, but we haven't actually had the opportunity to take you through a refeed day at this point yet at all, because all of the other refeeds, which I believe there was 3 others, have been just away from filming days. So a little bit of a different meal one here, which I'll talk you through in a little bit. But first of all, a little bit on refeed. So a lot of people have asked me on Instagram like how I've done my refeeds over the course of this prep, and in past preps I would have a structured refeed like pretty much every week. So I'd have like 1 day or 2 days or whatever. In my 2014, 2015 prep, it was 1 day always. 2017, it was mostly 2-day back-to-back refeeds. And this is the approach that we've been using in terms of the back-to-back approach this whole prep. I'm a big fan and definitely a believer of the back-to-back refeed approaches, because I think that you won't get the benefits of the refeed without using a back-to-back day. You'll get some as a result of having 1 day of overfeeding or maintenance calories overfeeding, but you won't get enough to really make it worthwhile. So you're much better off spending 2 days in an overfed state to start to have an impact on hunger hormones, so leptin and ghrelin, start to have a noticeable aesthetic impact, so improving intramuscular glycogen and as a result gaining muscle fullness, and also removing the edema, which is water retention, fluid retention, from dieting itself. Got to remember that dieting is a stress. So when we diet down, we accumulate fatigue, we accumulate fluid retention, and that fluid retention blurs detail. It blurs new lines, it blurs new cuts, and it makes you look less conditioned than you actually are. So the only times recently where I've refed was down, well, first time, I'll give you some examples. First time we refed was quite a while back. I lost a lot of weight in a week and a half, like a lot of weight. I think I lost about 5.5 pounds. So me and Cuba both agreed that that was too quick and I needed to actually gain a bit back to sort of reset the balance. Second time I refed was the same as all the others, the second, the third, and now the fourth. They were all as a byproduct of getting so flat that I could no longer see the improvements in condition. And when you get so flat to that point and you lose muscle fullness, you're not only starting to risk getting a physique that's so flat that you can't bring it back to life, especially with naturals, that we can't use assistance to create fluid retention and the illusion of a bigger look by filling out or dropping a certain compound to reduce fluid retention. We've only got really food as the tool and training as the tool, and obviously sleep, stress management, etc. But these refeeds now have served the role in terms of like removing that fluid retention from dieting, but also shrink wrapping the look. It's almost like wrapping cling film around something when you refeed up and you fill like a balloon full of water and then like you were to cling film it or something like that, so it has like a shrink wrap look. That's the look that we're trying to achieve with these refeeds. And the biggest thing this time that I've learned from the refeeding approach is that I can go higher than I expect. And also, I can use them on rest days, which I've never done before, to really, really replenish muscle glycogen and feel just good again for a couple of days. Because before these high days, I was feeling really, really draggy, like proper dragging my feet. And I've done plenty of preps, you know, so when I tell Cuba that I'm feeling draggy, he knows that like I'm being honest, I'm just being truthful, and I'm not complaining or being moody or moany or whatever. So these refeeds have all served a purpose. They are never just a psychological shoulder to lean on. And for me, like, I don't mind pushing if Cuba said, or, you know, Ben Howard, who's my other set of eyes, said, you know, keep pushing. I'll more than happily do that, but every time Cuba has said to refeed, it's been very well rationalised, and we've both come to an agreement, you know, so me and Cuba sort of work together on what the best approach will be. So hopefully that's refeeds explained for you guys. If you please, any questions throughout the refeed itself, the meal options, the sequencing of meals, whatever, please ask. A little bit earlier than normal, and yesterday was the first refeed day, so we did 700 carb yesterday. All of these meals are very simple: 100 carb, 20 protein. We reduce protein because carbohydrates have a protein sparing effect. And also on these days, we're also going to be consuming a large amount of trace protein from carbohydrates. So we don't need our usual 25-30 grams protein bolus per meal. So we've got 120 grams of Trained by JP cream of rice. This was made earlier. This was made yesterday actually, because I like to be efficient. And 100 grams of raspberries. And we've also got 24 grams of JP whey isolate. And it's the stuff you see on the top there is Nutridyne fruits and greens. So I actually haven't got the JP greens yet, so I'm still using the Nutridyne. And today's flavour of choice in the cream of rice is the vanilla cream of rice with the raspberry white chocolate whey isolate. So combos. Very important, especially when you're using these meals. Like I've got, I think, like 3 or 4 of these meals today. The cream of rice ones, which sit amazingly. They just digest so well. And I had like 4 of them yesterday, so I just rotate through flavours, which is nice. It's why it's good to have several different flavours of JP cream of rice in your cupboards, so stock up. And yeah guys, we'll take you along with the day, go out for a walk in a little bit, think of anything that I can discuss with you guys. Later on we'll show you all the meals, and as always, I hope you are all well. I hope you're doing fine and having a lovely day yourselves. Alright, we'll chat soon. Alright guys, so we are at meal 2. Very similar to my normal meal 2. So obviously meal 1 was very different. I normally have just like the berries and the whey and the paste. But this meal is rice, chicken, but just more of the rice, more of the chicken. So I'm at 100 grams raw weight of rice in this meal, and usually it's like I split 150 grams raw weight across 2 meals. So I'm splitting 200 grams raw weight across 2 meals in these, and same amount of veg. So I just split my normal sort of 250 grams of veg across 2 meals in this one and the pre. This one I have a little bit more of the veg just because I don't want a lot of veg in the pre-workout meal to sit uncomfortably in my stomach. So again, like food volume in the pre-workout setting needs to be just that little bit lower. In an off-season and even in a pre-contest phase, especially when your stomach's a little bit more sensitive during a diet, you definitely don't want a lot of food volume going in at that period. And then we have coupled this meal with a squares bar. Now, don't tend to use too many of these on high days because per bar they are 3.4 grams of fat, and I am trying to keep fats as low as possible. So for a 21 carb bar, you're getting 3.4 grams of fat. So I don't tend to use a lot of them, but the main benefit of the squares bar is that it does digest incredibly well. So I have some trace fats that will be carried with the squares, but the rest of my meals are so low in fat that it doesn't really matter. Yes, squares bar. And then we have some Monte Campo, which I got yesterday. This is fluid, water fluid. Fuck off. Apparently it's Italian, but so it's got an Italian flag around it. But then if you look a little closer, it is bottled in Stoke. So I don't think it's Italian water. Monte Campo. So I'm going to enjoy this the most out of this meal, I think. And we'll see you at the pre-workout meal, which we'll eat at Starbucks as always. See you in a bit, guys. Alright guys, so we're at Starbucks for the pre-workout meal, as always. This is just part of like our routine now. I don't actually know how we like got into this routine of coming to Starbucks, but it seems to be that it just works. I think as bodybuilders, you need that set schedule to your day. Something that I'm learning more and more as I get more experienced is that the cost of not having a routine is so high. So if you're watching this video and like you're 16, 17 years old and you're at secondary school or you're in college or even university, like use your day use your current day as a way to build your own structure as a bodybuilder. So use your 9 till 3 school day. Because I'm aware that there's a lot of younger people that do view these videos. Use that school day to start to build structure, like when you eat meal 1, when you eat meal 2, when you eat your pre, when you eat your post-work, like try and build your day around that. Don't go into your days with no plan or no structure, because that will fall as a negative balance in your bodybuilding journey. So yeah, I love this routine. I think this is something that we'll just keep going for as long as possible, to be honest. And we all get to like sit down, have a little bit of a chill pre-training, and obviously switch our minds from what has been a busy work morning for all of us that are here, towards then the session. So it's a really, really important part of our day. The meal itself is the same as the last meal, so there's no real need to go through it. The only thing that I do have is Hydromax. So I have a scoop of Hydromax with my pre-workout meal, just again for hydration purposes, making sure that I'm going into the session fully hydrated. And JP will probably bring out a hydration formula very soon, but at the moment I use the strong one. A bit of a talk on like where I'm at the moment. So to be honest, like before these high days, I was not happy with the way that was looking, and I know like why, and it's okay to feel like you're not happy sometimes, because a lot of the time people think that feeling unhappy with the way that you look equals like a bad week or equals a bad day and then equals a bad session. Like all of these things have a domino effect in bodybuilding. You've got to be able to deal with looking at the way that you look and almost separating it from the way you feel. So I wasn't happy with the way that I looked, but I didn't let that affect the way that sessions went or the way that I acted. That's just one variable in my day. It's just one thing. So the way I wasn't happy is because as you get flatter, as muscles become less full of glycogen and you push harder with fat loss, you will accrue fluid retention from the stress of dieting, like I said in the start of this video, and you'll also just have less pop, less fullness, less roundness to the muscle bellies, and you just look smaller and you actually look softer, but you're getting leaner. It's just a weird scenario, and even for the most experienced of bodybuilders, it's still a bit of a mindfuck. So for me, I just don't like that period of time, because I start to second guess my ability a little bit more. I start to think, am I good enough? And this is why having someone like Cuba, or having a second eye in general, I'm lucky to have Ben Howard keep an eye on me as well, as I've mentioned a few times. But the reason why I keep mentioning these people is because I'm immensely grateful for these people being in my life. I'm immensely grateful for having them as part of my journey. And like without them, I would not be the bodybuilder that I am today. So I feel they deserve as equal mention as like all the efforts that I'm putting in, because they put effort into me, and that's deservedly like said in these videos. So yeah, I mean, we kept pushing for like a good 10 days since our last refeed, and those 10 days were enough to bring me down in terms of condition, but also again just dropping off the fullness. So visually I wasn't that happy, but training was still going very, very well. Performance is still high at the moment. I'm still holding on to a lot of my numbers, and to be honest, like I haven't had a session where I thought, oh my god, that was really bad. I haven't had like one of those sessions at all. I've just had a really good run of consistently good sessions, so I really can't complain. And yeah, realistically, it's just 2.5 weeks to give it everything I've got, and I will. And hope that what you guys see from that is that the effort that I'm putting in, all of this meticulous action, it does pay off. And whether it's this year, whether it's next year, whether it's in 3 years' time that I achieve my current goal of getting that WMBF pro card, it doesn't really matter when it happens. It will happen, and I hope you guys can follow the whole thing, however long it takes. But yeah, for now we're going to eat, wait for the guys to arrive, get some caffeine in, caffeinated beverage, iced still, and go and hit some push, and we'll see you guys post workout.
Okay guys, so we finished up push. Very good session. Really happy with the look post-workout today. As I said, I wasn't so happy in the days leading up to this session with the flatness that we were experiencing. So we had a look today, both downstairs and upstairs, like 2 different posing lightings, and I'm so much happy with the top line. The chest, the arms, the delts, even like in between poses, like relaxed, just looks so much better. And this is just the effect of having the high days, is that the look now, I'm lean enough for it to have quite a significant visual impact. Cuba still thinks best idea is to still have 700 today instead of 600, so we're going to do that. That means that I'm going to have this meal and 2 more instead of 1 more. So usually I'll have post-workout meal, and then my last meal will be like a yogurt. So I'll just have 2 more meals when we get back, and Gaz will take you through those. So we've got a repeat of meal 1 except. So I put 50 carbs in my intra, so every meal is meant to be like 100, right? So to make up the 100 that I lost in that, or the 50 that I lost in that meal, I've put 50 carbs from caramel rice cakes. My mouth is going to be fucked by the end of this, sorry for the language. Partly because I had Invisalign fitted yesterday to sort out my gnashers, and my teeth hurt a lot. Why I've chosen these instead of like honey or something, fuck knows. Oh my god, so much swearing, I'm so sorry. Okay. So, Jesus. Okay, so 120 grams of cream of rice, 100 grams of fruit, 24 grams of whey isolate, just like meal 1. And I'm going to try and get through these. I may need to like blend them or something. But yeah, so we'll chat to you in the next meal. For now, I'm going to nail this, and yeah, speak to you in a bit.
Honest decision. To be fair, this is why as a bodybuilder having a set diet is brilliant, because it limits decision fatigue. But when you have an amazing sponsor in the form of Trained by JP Nutrition, you get decision fatigue over what whey and what cream of rice you want together. So, especially when you have like lots of cream of rice meals, you sort of don't know which to pick. Pressure's on. They're all good though. A lot of people ask me like which one is the best. I don't know, because they're all good. So I'm not exactly going to disappoint myself by making a flavour that was incorrect. What do I feel? We're gonna go vanilla, and we're gonna go raspberry white chocolate. So it's the same as all the others today, this meal. We're actually gonna have 2 more, well this one and 1 more. Just like this, 120 grams of the finest cream of rice with 24 grams of whey isolate. I might in my last meal have yogurt instead of whey. I might not though, just because I know that a lot of people are commenting on the amount of whey that I have in my diet. Part of the reason why I have a lot of whey in the diet is just because it does digest the best out of anything, and like, to be honest, I don't really want to have like things like yogurt, especially in a high day, because they will disrupt my digestion a little bit. So I'd rather have something like whey, which I know for a fact is just going to sit extremely well. And like obviously it being 24 grams, you know, over the course of the meals that I've had it in, it's not actually that much whey protein today in the grand scheme of things. And if I started to feel any adverse effects of having the whey, then obviously I wouldn't have as much. Ugh! Maybe that was a sign. Eat less whey. Okay guys, so final meal. My closing thoughts of Upshift episode 9. So this meal, I've already run through it, so you already know what it is. But yeah, high day's done for now. So should be moving back to literally just my normal linear diet and normal linear calories. after this. I might suggest the idea of Coop about running a little bit higher normal days, just so I don't end up dropping off so much, because I did drop off quite quick and then needed more high days quite soon. So we might discuss that tomorrow, and obviously see sort of day by day. Like now it is really a case of day by day check-ins, and really monitoring the look. But one thing I wanted to touch on before we end this episode. So one person came to me in the gym, came up to me and said how's things going, you know, but then they also really made it clear to me that they were aware that I was still smiling and still happy, and it was a shock to him because he came from another country before he trained at Ultraflex, and he said how everyone in his country used to basically be very, very sort of down and depressed when they were doing a diet or bodybuilding prep. So his environment, his circle was very, very negative, and everyone around him was driving him into making that feel like bodybuilding was like upsetting and depressing, and like you had to be sad when you were dieting down, you had to be like draggy and argumentative and almost very, very irritable. And don't get me wrong, like I have days where I'm irritable, I have days where I am more tired or I'm more draggy. 100%, we all have them, and it's a lie if you don't. But all I'm going to say to you guys is that if you're doing your first prep and you're watching these videos, and you're getting some inspiration, great. One thing that I want you to really, really take away from them is that it is ultimately your choice as to how you act in your prep. Whether it be your first prep, whether it be your 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever prep, it is all on you as to how you act. The calories, the dieting, the body composition, that is all a byproduct of your choice. You are dieting for your reasons, your choice, and as a result of that, you choose what it affects. Yeah, you choose whether it affects your work, you choose whether it affects certain other things in your life, and you know, like sometimes you know what you can control doesn't work out in your favor, because you almost lose the ability to understand what is right in terms of decision making, what is wrong. And that is something that you learn in bodybuilding. You get better at understanding what is right and wrong, and what is good decisions to make in a prep and bad decisions to make in a prep. And that's something that I'm definitely still getting better at. But this prep has been the best prep in terms of being happy, making right decisions for myself, creating an environment that is the best for myself. And I would not want anyone else that I've currently got in my circle. Like my circle is the best it's ever been, and I don't think it can be much better, to be honest. So I'm very, very happy and grateful for that. And you know, the fact that I'm smiling is as a byproduct of having Cuba around me, Meg around me, you know, these all important people, and to be honest, everyone in Ultraflex. You know, very, very motivating environment, a very happy environment. You don't get people that are like complaining or moaning about stuff that they're doing, because they're there because they love it. We all love it. So make your bodybuilding prep what you make of it, but look back on it, especially when you do your first one, and think, okay, what could I have done better? And that will really, really help you for sure in the future. Okay, so we'll leave that there. Fall in love with the process as well, like guys, like before you even do a prep, before you even challenge yourself to this degree. But yeah, we'll cut it off here before I go off on a million tangents. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, episode number 9. Episode number 10 will obviously be at 1 week out, pretty much exactly, and then we will then transition into some exciting content in the lead up to the show itself, in which we will be doing very, very frequent back-to-back episodes of Upshift, which we may well put like an extra sort of word on the end or something like that to make them significant, because they will be like 3, 2, 1 days out, and then hopefully, provided we can get Gaz in somehow, or at least around the show day, we'll get some show day footage for you guys as well, so you can look forward to that. Alright guys, peace out as always, thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.